And once we get started, we'll want to turn our mics off so we don't
Yeah.
have all the background noise while Rosemary is doing her thing.
Yep. Let me close my door so my dogs won't come.
Am I on mute?
Nope, I can hear you.
Okay, I need to fix that somehow.
The little
Bottom left
microphone down in the bottom left.
Good morning, and then I'm going to mute.
Perfect.
Good
Thank
morning.
you.
This is Julie. Good morning.
We can see Julie's iPhone.
Oh God, you can't see me, right?
No, we can't see
Oh,
you.
thank the Lord. I just got done vacuuming and stuff. I'm off today. And nobody wants to see this. Okay, muting now.
Okay, so it's 10 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Julie Miller with Metropolitan Title. I've been with Metro for about almost 11 years. And Megan and I are super excited to be hosting Rosemary Lewis today. And for those of you who don't know Megan, Megan is the owner of Megan Williamson Photography, real estate photographer extraordinaire. She's amazing. Probably most of you know her, or she's done your headshots or your branding shoots. She's amazing. Before I hand it over to Megan to introduce Rosemary, I wanted to talk about a couple of upcoming events that we have. January 15th is our live in-person vision board party that we do every year. So we're so excited to be doing that again, once again at Chicory Cafe in Mishawaka, downtown Mishawaka, 1 to 4 on January 15th. It will be come and go as you please. We will have all the supplies that you need, except of course for your very own fabulous vision. And if you were not on the Zoom last week where we talked about how to create a vision, how to cast a vision, and the steps of creating your vision board so that you can be fully prepared coming to the live in-person event, I will be happy to send you that video if you have not gotten it yet. Also, during that event, Megan will be there and she will be helping show you how to do that on Canva if you have an interest in doing a digital vision board as well. So January 15th, put that on your calendar, 1 to 4, Chicory Cafe, downtown Mishawaka. The next thing is if you need the video for that Zoom, just put the word vision in the chat. You can go down to the bottom of the Zoom bar and click on chat and just put the word vision in that chat. We'll send you that video out. The next thing is Megan and I are also hosting a business boot camp 4-week intensive in February. You guys are the very first to hear about that. We're super excited to be rolling that out. If you would like information and details on that boot camp, just put boot camp in the chat and we will get that out to you as well. That being said, I'm going to hand the mic over to Megan Williamson.
Okay. Hi guys. So I have the privilege of knowing Rosemary. I've known her in person for about a year, but I've known who she is for a few years because we have some mutual connections. And right off the bat, fell in love with her. I just love the time that we get to spend together. So I have the privilege of introducing her. So this is Rosemary Lewis. She's a real estate broker and team leader with a unique background as an elementary school teacher. Rosemary's experience as an educator has given her a fresh perspective on real estate, relationships, and leadership. Rosemary has been recognized as a 4-time icon agent with EXP, D Magazine, Best Realtor, and featured in Real Producers Magazine. She attributes her success to building the right habits and has a passion for teaching others how to achieve their goals and live their best lives. In addition to leading her team, Rosemary is passionate about helping women in real estate get unstuck and tap into their God-given talents to serve in the marketplace. She shares practical strategies, faith-based encouragement, and real-world insights through the Real Estate Bestie Podcast, her YouTube channel, and Accelerator Group Coaching. Rosemary is dedicated to empowering women to build successful businesses founded on faith, businesses that honor their values, serve clients with excellence, and create lives filled with purpose and meaning. And I'm going to pass it over to Rosemary.
Yay! Thank you, Megan.
Thanks for being here.
No, thank you. And thank you, Julie. And thank you to everybody who is on the call today. Now, little housekeeping, because I am a former educator and a little bit of a Baptist preacher, even though I'm not anybody's preacher, right? So if you are in a place where you can have your camera on. I know that like Julie's not going to spam this out into like the AI world. But if you're in a place where you can have your camera on, I really encourage you to do it, because this isn't about me talking to you for the next, 80 something minutes, but I want to make sure that you're going to get everything that you can out of this session. And I just find for myself, like when I'm listening to a Zoom, I'm multitasking, I'm not really plugged in, and I want to see your face. Like I like to see your face. We like to see who we're talking to. But I understand that some agents, some of you all might be dual career. You can't be on camera, but if you can, would love to see your face. So today we are going to talk about, it's not your average goal setting session, okay? And I say that because oftentimes first of all, when I got into this business, like the goal was not to go back into the classroom, okay? I didn't have any specific goals. I didn't know how to set goals for my business. And then that turned into only being about business, right? Only being about production, only being about growing my farm, growing my sphere, and not necessarily planning and having goals around all of these other parts in life. And that will have you burn out. That will have you empty. Anyone tell, like, have you ever felt that? Like burnout, empty, running on fumes, especially because we're in a service-based industry. So this goal setting experience is going to be more about looking at your whole life and how can your business support the life that you want to live. And contrary to popular belief, like it doesn't take a long time to start living that life. Like you can start living that life today. And I'm just honored to be able to share my experience, and I'm hoping and praying that that you take something out of this so you approach the new year just a little bit differently. Before I get started, like I have to be very honest with you. The name of our podcast is Real Estate Bestie because so like right now, just we are best friends. Okay. I see a bestie on here, Monet. We met for the first time a couple of months ago in Charlotte. Hey girl, hey. One thing about me is like I can be transparent to a fault. But I think that that has also been like a superpower in business and now in connecting with other real estate besties because God just created me to be authentic. So I just want to be honest and say I've had a very crappy week. It's been a hard week. It has been like it started off on a high note, but it has just been overwhelming on a lot of different fronts. And I'm sharing that because I know that I'm not alone, right? I know that we're approaching the holidays. I know that this year has been crazy for the past few years have been crazy for real estate. So if you don't mind, if you're a believer, then I would like you to just join with me for just a little prayer, just to set our hearts and our minds. And again, I don't want to, like, this is not to offend, but I need to set the atmosphere for myself and for everybody else. So just real quick, Father God, I thank you for our time today on this call. I thank you for everybody that you have brought here, God. I thank you that we can come for a business conference, a business meeting, but we can see you in the center of our lives. Lord, I pray for everyone on this call. If they're coming feeling overwhelmed, if they're coming feeling like, oh, this year was just too much or not enough, or whatever the end of the year is, God, I just pray that you are present and that you are with them. I pray that today, as we move forward with this goal setting session, God, that you will give us the courage to dream big, the courage to step outside of our comfort zone, the thing that we have been allowing to hold ourselves back in business and relationships and life, God. I pray that we just trust you so that we can unlock those areas and just do really big things, God, that honor you with our lives. I thank you for this time. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen. And Megan, I sent over, I don't know if everyone was able to get the PDF that we sent over. If you don't have the PDF, don't worry about it because I'm going to have a QR code. You'll be able to follow along today. If you don't have the PDF, but this is a guide that my team and I just wanted to give you something tangible because again, I don't want us to walk away from this experience just listening to somebody talk. for a couple of hours, an hour and a half, and not have it really be applicable to what's going on with you in your life. So know that, yes, I am presenting, but this is a back and forth. So feel free to raise your hand, feel free to come off mute. We can go a little bit deeper. And I'm actually going to call on you, to ask a couple of these questions, because that is how we're going to get from A to B, from B to D, and therefore on. So in the chat, if y'all could just do me a favor, drop an emoji to describe 2024. Like if you had to describe exactly how you feel about this past year, whether it be business, whether it be life, like drop a emoji in the chat. I just want to see exactly how this year, like, let me see if I'm talking to my people. How did this year do you? Okay, Monet, I see that face. Yes, Dan, I understand. Yep. Julie, all of the above, right? A little bit of everything. So listen, I am right there with you. 2024, I mean, we have made it to December 12th. There have been a lot of blessings in this year, but it's been some curveballs, especially in our industry, okay? In the beginning of February, we got the bombshell dropped on us with NAR. It changed the way a lot of us do business. Interest rates, remember this time last year, they told us that interest rates were going to dip so low. I don't know about you. I'm still waiting on that to happen. A lot of buyers are still waiting on that to happen. We were told that, the election we were going to see a spike in sales or all these different things after it was over. Still haven't seen that. It has definitely been a tougher few years in real estate. I don't care where you sit in terms of production. And when I do things like scroll social media, like you hear all of these numbers, right? So in the beginning of the year, there was a statistic that came out from National Association of Realtors that said 50% of realtors sold between 0 and 1 homes in 2023. Now, I just saw this new statistic that came out. I haven't been able to source it yet. But there is something going around in like leadership conferences saying that as of today's date, 74% of realtors in 2024 have not closed 1 home. Okay. Then there's another statistic that says this has been the worst market in terms of number of homes exchanged in the last 35 years, since 1989. Okay. Now, whether these are true or not, we're hearing it as the real estate agents. And you know who else is hearing it? The consumer. Right? So there are lots of things that in going into the new year, there are lots of numbers, there are lots of facts, there are lots of, thoughts that you may be having based on how your year has played off and all of these negative things that are in media. And you may find yourself at a crossroad. And I'm right here with you, right? And you get to decide, okay, how are you going to approach the next year? So you can approach the next year optimistic and hopeful, like, you know what? There is opportunity, because we know that even in down markets, there are people that sell a lot of money. And when you study what happened during the recession, the agents that stuck it through, they learned how to adapt in that really, really tough market. A lot of them are multimillionaires. I know a lot of people that may make their most money in the harder markets. And it's true. It's a fact. Strong businesses are built in tough times. You want easy times, right? But when you have those easy times, it's not helping you build that resilience. So if you can build a strong business in a tough time, then when the market is more favorable, then it will continue to thrive for you. So some of us are saying we're going to be hopeful. Some people are indifferent, like, okay, I'm just going to go straight ahead and just kind of figure out what's going to happen. I'm not going to put too much energy in it one way or the other. It is what it is. I'm not necessarily positive and hopeful, but I'm not bah humbug either. And then there's some people that are going totally to the right, like, oh my word, what is happening? Like the sky is falling. Should I hang my license? My broker isn't helping. Like every single thing is a negative Nancy. And guess what? Right now, you have a choice. Which path are you going to take? Are you going to take the path to believe that next year, no matter what happened this year, some of you may have had great business success, but you're struggling with your home life. You're struggling with, running the business as a business. Some of you may be struggling just to get in production. Are you hopeful that, you know what, I can make some changes, I can adapt and make that better? Or are you just kind of riding the wave just to see what's going to happen with market? Or are you one of the ones that are like, you know what, the sky is falling? The fact that you're here, I'm going to assume that you're not the person that is saying the sky is falling, but I'm just curious, what are you choosing? Right? And either you're going to choose to believe the best about your business and your life, or you're going to choose to believe the worst. That's really what it comes down to. And you're here. So I want y'all to tell me in chat, like, what do you think? Where are you leaning towards? Are you feeling burdened by everything that you're hearing? Or are you choosing to believe, you know what? I don't care what market looks like. There is opportunity for me to build the business that I want to live in. Let me see in chat. What are you saying? Tammy said, I feel like next year is going to be amazing. Tammy, I feel that too, right? We deserve an amazing year. We deserve it. So today, let me tell you what we're going to do, because I'm, like I said, teacher in me. I'm going to show you how to identify what truly matters to you in 2025. We're going to reframe some of these limiting beliefs that have held you back, and we're going to break down your goals into actionable and intentional steps. So that is where we're headed today. Now, a little bit, Megan told y'all a little bit about me. I just like to give just a little bit more context. So yes, I am a real estate broker in Texas. We talked about that. Was an elementary school teacher for 14 years, made the transition to full-time real estate in 2017, didn't have a savings, didn't have a plan, but just felt that I was called into the marketplace, and it's worked out. I'm still here, right? And I'll get to teach and support agents now. I have a husband. We have two boys, Corey and Cameron. I do run a small team under Real Broker. And then we're also the host of the Real Estate Bestie Podcast, which has become a community where our sole purpose is to help women get unstuck. Oftentimes, I know for myself, like, it's just like, I know that I can be successful, but there are just different tweaks, right? Learning about the business, or learning how to have these conversations, learning how to convert. And Real Estate Bestie is all about being that best friend who's going to coach you up. We're your guy friend, we're your girlfriend, and we're your guide. So if you're not a part of the Real Estate Bestie community, we invite you to be a part of it. And we're actually doing a Bible study. We started a Bible study last month. So you can scan this QR code to be a part of it. It's going to happen once a month next week. But let's get into, I think Megan already showed you where your workbook is. Does everyone have the workbook handy where you can access it? No? If not, you can scan it. And even if you just download it to your phone, I just want to make sure that you're able to go back to it after this call today. Okay? All right. So let's get started. The biggest thing that I find that trips us up, especially when it comes to goal setting, is that we want to go so fast and so forward to look at, okay, where do we want to be? But in order to get where you want to be, we have to first assess where you are, okay? And when we talk about intentional goal setting, I like to take a moment to ask this question, and I'm going to ask a few friends to come off mute and just talk to me about it. Thinking about exactly what you have accomplished this year. And I want you to broaden your sense, right? Not just in business. Of course, we want to know what you have accomplished in business. But if there's anything that you're like, you know what? I'm really proud of myself because I was able to do this thing or these couple things this year. Because often enough, especially in our industry, that it is so production oriented, right? We can go from one thing to the next thing it's always a new goal to chase. We don't take enough time often to celebrate the fact that you are likely living quite a few of your answered prayers. So if anyone would like to come off of mute and just share, you know what's something like I am like this is your time to like talk your talk and toot your own horn. What's something that you're really proud of that you were able to accomplish this year?
I can go if no one else is ready. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So I got my real estate license in January of this year. I became a full broker also this year. I did already have my first sale. And even though things have been slow, like me building my sphere of influence, I just have been taking chances and kind of putting myself out there. So I'm building my sphere. I'm using my CRM. So I'm just preparing in the fourth quarter for next year, for 2025. So I'm proud of myself for um, getting my license. Like I said, I wanted to passing. Everyone knows North Carolina is one of the hardest states to get your real estate license in. So passing that on my second try, and just putting myself out there, stepping outside of my comfort zone. Like I listen to your podcast, and one thing I do now is like show up. So I'm gonna go live, and I hate talking on camera, but I'll talk on camera, like those type of things, just so that people start to get to know me. So I'm proud of myself for stepping outside of my comfort zone and reaching goals.
Monique, I am super proud of you. And that's what you just said something, which is one of the reasons why when we're on Zoom, anytime I do a Zoom training, I really encourage realtors to be on camera, because this is a safe space to be on camera, right? This is a safe space to get used to seeing yourself, to get used to talking, to get used to being natural. And when you're able to do that in these safe spaces, what you're actually doing is you're building your reps and you're building your courage to show up in these other spaces. So I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Okay, anybody else want to share? And let's get two more. Like I want to hear, what are you proud of?
Okay, I'll go.
Hey, Tammy.
Hey, so I got my license in 2004 and I got out of the business in 2015. And real estate has always been a passion, but life can happen. So I got out and I started an interior painting company. And I've always thought about real estate. It had been heavily on my mind the last few years, just due to painting being hard on the body.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband was very supportive and encouraging. So I took my continuing ed in December last year and got my license back active in January, and was ready to sell. I knew it wouldn't happen overnight, because it takes a lot of work. And my biggest fear was hiring someone to take over the painting for me. And I went ahead and made the jump and hired my stepdaughter to paint for me, and it's going really well. And so navigating this transition has been kind of difficult at times, like some days I'll be a painter and then like my real estate starts blowing up when I'm on a paint job, which is not very often anymore, but I have still managed to have 3 sales. And I should be getting a call any day from a gentleman for a small commercial that we're thinking about listing at 1.5 million. So I don't know. I'm just really proud of staying focused and dedicated to the end result, which I want to be real estate full time and let Kylie just take over my Painting Daisies company. So everything's working well, although, at times it doesn't feel like it, but I'm doing it. So
You're doing it. You're doing it.
doing it.
I love that. And one of the biggest transitions, I think that especially as you build your real estate business, is allowing that leverage, right? So the fact that I always think there's this meme where like this little girl is holding this little teddy bear really close to her heart, and Jesus is there with a big teddy bear behind it, behind his back. And sometimes we're holding on to that little thing, right? Because we know how, like, you know how to make money in your painting business, you know how to do this, but you felt called to do something else. But sometimes you have to let it go
Yeah.
without knowing how it's going to turn out in order to get the other thing. And I'm super proud. Like, that's something to be very, very proud of. And a lot of us women are really hard about letting stuff go and delegating. So
Yeah.
that is a huge one. That's a huge one. And this is one that's going to serve you well as however you decide to grow your real estate business. You will need to apply leverage, and you will already have experience on, even when it gets slow, even when it does, like, applying leverage is going to help me do the things that are the best dollar producing activities.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. Okay, one more. I need one more proud. Like this is talk your talk now. What are you proud of?
I'll jump in and say a little something. Um, this year's been the year of cancer for me. I found out last November I had cancer. So I've been going through all of that this year. And I just let God take it. I knew that I may not be busy with work, but God just, He worked it out in that no, I wasn't busy the first part of the year, first couple quarters. Um, but once I started feeling a little better, he brought the business. And so I've had 25 transactions, even with cancer this year. They've been really difficult this year. All my transactions have been really difficult. Buyers have been very different this year
Mhm.
than what they've been in the past. But I'm just, I guess, proud of myself for staying calm, giving it to God, still working my business from the computer when I was home with a mastectomy and when I was going through surgeries and all that good stuff. Still reached out to just my clients. So I still loved on my clients during the
Yeah.
year. I wouldn't say that I like tried to get new ones at all. I didn't do anything for that this year, but I loved on my people this year. Um, with pop buys, with gifts, with just reaching out, newsletters, emails, some phone calls, and things like that. And I don't
Yeah.
know, I love talking to my clients. I love being with them. I love it when they want me to come see their house and what they've done to it since they purchased it. So I still did all those kinds of things. And they prayed for me. They were with me during my cancer. So it ended up being a good year. Now I'm very excited for 2025 to be cancer free and to hit the road running again.
No, we love that. We are so grateful that you are cancer free. But you also like just listening to your story, like you're showing me how to suffer well, right? Because it sounds like even though there was uncertainty, you number one, you gave it to God, but you still served and stayed on mission in the capacity in which you could. And that is such a great thing to be proud of. So awesome. I love that. I love that. Okay. So for everybody else who did not, like you weren't able to share, look, it's in your workbooks. You're going to be able to share exactly. And I want you to take some time to think it through because again, a lot of times we speed past our accomplishments and we speed past sometimes what you're proud of isn't a number of transactions. It's like, you know what? I'm proud I didn't give up. I'm proud that I remain calm in these situations. I'm proud of the resilience that I've showed. I'm proud that, you know what, I swore off social media and I've showed up every Thursday and I did that property tour. Nobody has bought yet, but I've done that, right? There is definitely always something to be proud of. Now, here's the next part though. Now, what are your shoulda, coulda, wouldas? Right? What is that thing or a couple things that at this point of the year you're like, man, I should have did this. Or I wish I could have. I wish I would have went to that conference. I should have went to that conference. Or I wish I would have did time blocking a little differently, right? When I did this one last year, I'll give you an example. I was making a whole lot of money and I didn't have a bookkeeper. I was trying to like figure it out on QuickBooks on my own, like stressed out during tax time, trying to categorize stuff and make it. And at the end of last year, I was like, Rosemary, you should have just hired a bookkeeper, right? Like it's a business. It's like, and guess what? Before I left 2023, I left with a bookkeeper. Okay. So I want to know just two people share with me your shoulda, coulda, wouldas. What's a shoulda? And this is not like to down yourself, but this is also reflection time, being honest with yourself on where you had the power to do something differently. And in the moment, you didn't choose it. So if you could go back in time, what's something you would have changed?
I
Tammy?
so I love summer. And like I had mentioned with the transition with the painting and real estate. So since I wasn't painting a whole lot, it was in the spring. So then summer rolled around and I always have my patio as my office space in the summer. I can get a lot done, not a lot of interruptions, but what I should have done. And granted, I didn't know the system very well, so trying to navigate that, but I should have hit my sphere a lot sooner than I did this year. So, when the colder months hit, like around October, I started diving into my database a lot more and getting it organized, getting it prepared, sending out the automatic emails. And I just kind of wonder like where I would be today if I would have started that back in like April or May rather than just hanging out with the pool and making pool day dates with my friends. And instead of enjoying that time off, I should have remained focused and got my database ready, really. But I'm doing it now. So,
Yeah. So you're almost ahead of me. I love the fact that you are, so now you're self-aware
yes.
and you can make some tweaks and some changes. And I even have some feedback about the pool dates. I'll give in a second. Anyone else have a shoulda, coulda, woulda?
Well, I'll say something if no one else is going to speak up, but I feel like I should say no more often. So my position's a little different being a sales rep for a title company. Um, I kind of get roped into a lot of things that I know are not going to push my business forward, but I feel obligated to do it. And so that's one of my things for 2025 is like being more intentional about what I say yes to and delegating my time more effectively.
Yep. Let your yeses be your yeses and your nos be your
Mhm.
nos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else can relate to that? Can anybody? Yeah, I think we all can relate to that, right? Because and naturally, a lot of times because we're in sales and because especially if you have a nurturing spirit, you want to, there's some people pleasing in us, right? And we don't want to disappoint, but sometimes the fear of disappointing someone else will actually lead to us being disappointed in what we've been able to do. Good. Thank you for sharing that, Julie. Well, listen, I know we all have a sugar, coulda, woulda, and you're going to be able to write it down. And this is the good thing about reflecting on this now. And I gave the example about when I did this last year, I was like, man, I should have hired a bookkeeper. And when I did this, it was like November. I was like, well, girl, you got 60 days, hire a bookkeeper, you know? So Tammy said it like, oh, I should have reached out to my database more. It's not still a shoulda, coulda, woulda because she is actually putting the processes and the steps in place right now. So the beautiful thing about taking some time to reflect is you can see what went well, what could have gone differently, and what could I change? Like sometimes things are out of our control, but during the summer, maybe you could say, okay, this week I'm going to do 3 pool dates, but I get to do my pool day after I spend 60 minutes in my database, right? And you know what? In one of those pool dates, when I'm in my database, I'm going to invite somebody who I haven't seen in a long time to come to that pool date because now I'm even going to be even more top of mind and we get to rekindle that relationship, right? So, not saying that you don't get to have fun, but how can I be more strategic with the way that I'm connecting with people? And now I don't have to feel guilt about being at the pool because I'm still gonna go to the pool. Y'all only get 2 days of summer. Go to the pool. But I can go to the pool after I have this dedicated time in my database. So think about that, friends. Like whatever is your shoulda, coulda, woulda. Oh, I should have showed up on social media more. Do a FaceTime video today. Oh, I should have reached out to my database. Call 3 people in your database today. Oh, I should have went on more dates with my husband. Last time I checked, dates are still happening tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend, right? So there are things, sometimes we think something magical is going to happen on January 1st, when the reality is that the version that you want to become, we can start being her or him now. Okay? All right. Now let's do a little bit of future forecasting. Okay. I want you to fast forward and we're going to pretend that 2025 has happened. So we are in this space 1 year from today. I don't know if Julie is going to invite me back, but we are in this space 1 year from today. And I want you to talk about, okay, what are the things that I hope to be proud of a year from now? Now, this is a little bit more challenging. I'm going to tell you why. I have a good friend, Terrell Knighton. He came to speak at a Real Estate Bestie event that I had, and he said something that I cannot unhear. He said that most people are not 40 years old, they're not 50 years old, they're not 35 years old. He said they may be 40, but they're really 20 with 20 years of experience of living the same year. Can y'all still hear me? It looks like everyone is. Can y'all still hear me? Okay, making sure you can still hear me. Y'all paused on my end. And oftentimes we get to a point in life where settling and just things being the way they are become the norm. And part of that is because we're so used to the way things are that we don't even think about how things can be different. Okay. And what happens a lot of times with real estate agents is we only equate what we want next year as it relates to transactions. So when I ask this question, what accomplishments do you want to be proud of? I want you to think about your whole life. Think about your family. Think about your health. Think about your mental clarity. Think about your finances. What's something, and I just want y'all to drop it in the chat, like what's something that you hope to be proud of a year from now? And I hope I can see the chat. What's something you hope to be proud of? Work-life balance, being more present with my family, helping more newer agents, being more present, growing my business while creating good balance with family and friends. Okay, who else? Volunteering more. Perfect. Something that I hope to be proud of, we are hosting another Real Estate Bestie event. So I hope to be proud of hosting 130 women in Dallas on September 21st through the 24th. Do y'all notice something about what I want to be proud of? It's specific. The number of women, the date that I want to do it, right? So when you go back to your workbooks and you fill this out, try to be more specific. So not volunteering more. What's more? More is one more day. Is that, would that make you proud? Or do you want to volunteer once a month with your family? Right? Do you want to choose one vacation? Do you want cell phone free home after 7 p.m., right? So being a little bit more specific, because the more specific we are, the more targeted our actions are going to be to get it. But this is a great start. Okay? All right. Now let's talk about what gets in the way of that. Is our limiting beliefs. When I say the word limiting beliefs, like what just comes to mind? Like there have been a lot of foo-foo thinking around limiting beliefs. I'm just curious on what definition you would bring to that. Anyone want to come off mute? Remember, I told you we're going to talk back and forth with each other here.
I would say the stories that we make up about what we are and are not capable of.
Yep.
I think sometimes for me, it's hard to stay out of my own head. Like I think I'm my own worst enemy. Um, Not knowing if I show up if I'm what people want, if I show up as what people want. Yeah, something like that along those lines.
Yeah. So being afraid of what others will think, and then it minimizes the way you show up.
Right. Like I can be sometimes my husband teaches me like I'm really rigid, like as far as like you're always professional, you're just too professional. So I try to show up in other ways. Like I like my nails really long.
Mhm.
So this is my way of expressing myself is through my nails. Outside of that, I'm kind of like in this closed box of like always on professional time because I just feel like I have to be that way and for people to take me serious.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
You
think
also just
my
said something that I think a lot of us probably deal with, even whether we know it or not. Like, I'm pretty sure your husband loves you, right? And I'm pretty sure that his advice to you isn't to stifle you because they share with us from their own experience. But by saying something like you're too rigid, that may be, you know what I mean? That may be putting a ceiling on you that he's not intending. And a lot of us come from that. Like I come from a family where my parents always talked about saving and not being frivolous. But what that did for me was that it made me very afraid to take any sort of risk, right? Because I thought that if I was responsible, I wouldn't go all in on entrepreneurship. You're going to do a safe job. So different things that we either tell ourselves or other people have said to us, well-meaning people. I want to say that too. I do know that a lot of us have probably lived and experienced toxic people at some level. But a lot of times the people that love us, that want the best for us, just gave us some advice that may be limiting the way we think about ourselves, the way we think about money, the way we think about what's available to us, the way we think about business. And we have to be honest and identify what some of those limiting thoughts are, because a lot of people have goals, right? I know folks that have had goals for financial freedom for 50 years, right? But really can't even imagine what financial freedom would look like because everyone around them is in debt. They can't imagine a life without credit cards, right? So even though this is the goal, because the underlying belief that is like putting a ceiling over their head is that this is the way life is, we have to first expose those beliefs as a lie, okay? And then think about what we're going to choose to believe differently. And sometimes people just think like, and this is the way I thought, oh, I'm just gonna like choose, like believe something different. No, no, no. The negative thoughts are still gonna pop up in your head. But when that negative thought pops up in your head, what are you gonna choose to believe differently? So we have a little activity that we're gonna do together. And it's called creating a belief change. Okay. Because all of us come with old beliefs, things that have been ingrained in us. And we get to choose, either we get to stick with that belief or we get to choose a new belief. And then I like to take it a step further and say, okay, but then what does God say about me? So I'll tell you an old belief of mine. When I was 13 years old, my brother was murdered and on the streets of Chicago. So an old belief of mine, like I really struggled anytime I accomplished anything, graduating from high school, graduating from college, even being successful in real estate. Like my belief was like, I don't deserve to have a good life because he wasn't able to do that, right? In my mind, who was I to deserve to receive these blessings if my brother, who in my mind was better than me, if he didn't get to live this life, that was mine. So the underlying thing, the things I would be sabotaging myself without knowing it, it would show up like laziness, or it would show up like I just wasn't following through on my goals, or it would show up like toxic behaviors. But at the end of the day, it was a belief that I didn't deserve to live, at least not a good life. I should just be happy living. That was actually the belief, right? But then the new belief that I had to believe is like, no, if I'm here, there is a purpose and a plan for my life. Now, just because I choose to believe that new thing, it doesn't mean those old thoughts don't still come up, right? Especially like the holidays, I get to teach Asians all the time. I think about him and but when that old thought comes up, I have to choose to say, no, 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 no. Remember, Rosemary, there's a purpose and there is a plan for your life. Look at the evidence of your life, right? yes, what you went through with your brother, it definitely informed who you are and it's changed who you are. But don't think that you don't get to live because he didn't get to live on this side. And then I go to what God says. And what God says in Ephesians 2:10 is that I am his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works that he prepared beforehand that I will walk in them. So if I am created and I am God's workmanship, when those thoughts that tell me that I don't deserve to live a good life, it's like, no, I do. Because the word of God says this. And whether or not you're a believer, right? I want you to begin to retrain your thinking. Because we can sit here and we can throw all these production. I'm going to sell 75 homes next year. But do you know how many people sell a whole lot of homes and they're miserable? Right? Make a whole lot of money, but they're empty. Speak on a million stages, but still feel like they're not good enough. It's because there has not been a shift in the beliefs. And this is here's the good news, but not the good news. It's an ongoing process. I don't know if we're ever there, right? I don't know if there's ever going to be a day where every single day of the year, every day of your life, because there will be things that will seem to take your breath away. But this is why doing activities like this are going to be so important, because you get to have tools in your toolkit. So when it's March and NAR does something else crazy, and you think, oh, I knew I wasn't good enough to be a real estate agent. No. Here's my new belief. My new belief is I'm put here to serve. Kathy could say, no, that's not true. Because even when I was going through the hardest year of my life, God used me from my couch in my living room to encourage my clients. So I don't care what is happening in the market. He can use me to help other people. Right? So shifting the way you think about yourself and your life. Now, when we put goals on paper, we have some ammunition when it gets hard to go to those goals. Like when we get, because the biggest blocker is normally what happens in between our ears. And this belief change activity, and I encourage you to really take your time to do it this weekend. If you have a real life real estate bestie, y'all just really talk about it together and even pray, God, okay, what are some things that have been said to me, right? Do I believe I'll always be broke? Do I believe we'll always struggle financially? Because that's the only thing that I've seen. Like somewhere along the way, I thought that struggle meant humble. I need you to uncover that for me so that I can believe something different. Make sense? Told you it wasn't your average goal setting experience. So when you are thinking about where you want to go, we first need to assess where we are now. And probably 5 or 6 years ago now, I went to a training, which is why I'm so proud of you all. Like it's so much to be said about those who invest their time, their money, and their energy in personal and professional development. There is a huge difference with the company that you're going to keep, right? And I went to a real estate thing, but then I learned this, and it has literally changed the way that I look at life. Because I was in a season where it was all about production. I want to be top producer. I want to be in a magazine. I wanted to, get the awards. I wanted, which is all fluff, right? We all know that's fluff, right? Top producers at most brokerages have sold one deal a month a lot of times, right? It's all fluff. But when I was introduced to this concept of the 5 F's, yes, my business and my finances, they are important because it's a tool to help me live the life that I want to live, the life that I'm called to live. But there is so much more. So I want you to take a quick assessment and just say, okay, where am I now? On a scale of 1 to 10, right? How fulfilled am I in my faith journey, where I am financially, where I am fitness-wise? And this isn't just physical fitness, but your mental wellness, your mental health, your skincare routine, whatever fitness is for you. with my family dynamic? How fulfilled am I? And fun. This is the part that we tend to forget, right? I don't know about y'all, but I am not working at the rate in which we're working to wait until I'm 65 to have fun, right? So where are we building that in? And fun may look different for everyone, right? There was one point in my life, fun was brunching with girlfriends. Now, like it's going to Target unbothered with my coffee in my cart with no time limits on when I have to come home. That is so fun to me. So if you had to assess, where are you? Take a second and just think about it. Tell me where you feel like you're good. You can come off mute. And where you're like, you know what? There are some areas of opportunity for me to focus in on some of these, on this area.
I'd say I'm good with faith and family. And finances and fun are probably ones I'm not so good with.
So those are your areas of opportunity. I want to reframe my words.
Yeah.
Those are my areas where we can increase. Yeah.
Fun, fitness, faith, and family are where I need to increase opportunity. Finances, I've finally gotten to a better place there, which is taking control of my bills and all of that. I've gotten to a safe spot there, but I do need to work on the rest.
Yeah. And this is another one where I really want you to spend some time with your booklet this weekend and just really think to yourself, okay, where am I really? Most of us don't know where we really are, right? When it comes to finances, if there is debt, first of all, don't be ashamed, right? When you look at the statistics, there's more consumer debt this year. So you're not the only one, but we don't want to ignore it, right? And the beautiful thing about the business that we're in is that for most of us, a little bit of tweaks in your habits can totally change your financial trajectory, right? I went from being an elementary school teacher to literally doubling, until getting to the 7-figure mark. And I'm like, how did that even happen? And it wasn't big changes, small effort, but knowing where I was and being honest about the numbers, right? With your family, being honest about where you are. Like, are we really connecting, or are we going through the motions? And I know you can't control other people, but where can I bring different effort, right? Have I not talked to my sister? Like, true story, y'all. And I promise this is not sob story, but I have experienced a lot of loss. I have my sister passed away unexpectedly in 2021. And I had to do an assessment and say I hadn't seen her in 5 years. We weren't in outs with each other, right? We just let FaceTime and social media be our connection. And then when she was gone, I was like, man, I could have, like, that was a shoulda, coulda, woulda, I can't get back, right? I should have made more of an effort. I should have been the one to raise my hand to say, okay, this year we're going to do our sister. We kept saying we're going to do a sister weekend, but everybody was too busy until it was too late. So just give yourself an honest assessment on where am I? Do I say I have faith in God, but I only kind of see him half of the time at church, but I'm really distracted when I'm there anyway? So does that mean I need to create, and again, none of this is to shame. This is just to take true assessment, because in order to get to the destination, you have to know your starting point. And I encourage you to really take some time and really assess exactly, okay, where am I now? Then after you assess where am I now, you get to say, okay, where do I want to be a year from now? And again, don't like goals should definitely be, or I want you to dream, but I don't want you to say, well, next year we're going to go on a family vacation to Greece and you haven't talked to your sister in 18 years. That might be a stretch, right? But a year from now, can you say, you know what? I'm going to do a monthly family FaceTime or check-in, right? What can you control? Because if everybody else doesn't buy in, this isn't about them. This is about you. If you don't know, like fun is often the one that a lot of people struggle with because like I don't even know what's fun to me anymore. So maybe next year it's like, okay, I'm going to go on 3 dates by myself just to explore what I'm into. Do I still like pickleball? I haven't played tennis in years. Do I still like it? Maybe it's just, I'm just gonna, whatever that is, but really think about these areas and where do we want to be a year from now? Because remember what I told you, that statistic what my friend told me is that most of us have 20 years of experience of living the same year over and over, but not you, not now. Okay. Any questions with that? Tell me what y'all are thinking.
I just love this whole conversation because, of course, it's the perfect time of year to be having it as we're all, thinking about 2025. And what I have found in the past, I get super specific on business goals and maybe not as specific in all the other areas that are just as important. And again, that also helps to create that work-life balance. So this is just such a good reminder, I think, for me, and I'm sure probably for all of us, that they are all equally important to have fulfillment in every area of your life, because you can be killing it in your business, but then your home life or your fun is suffering, and then are you really getting fulfillment from all of your efforts going to your business? So this is just a great conversation. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. It's so not that we pass judgment on anybody, but I remember one of my first real estate coaches, right? The way that she coached me, it was like, I had to look at the whole life because I'm like, the way that you are coaching me in terms of like being non-negotiable about my habits. But then I looked at other relationships in their life, right? And I'm like, yes, she makes a lot of money in business. But when I see the interaction with husband and family and relationships in industry, I don't know, like, what did it cost? Does that make sense? Like, what did it cost? And sometimes for some of us, like I have had literally made concerted efforts to make less money so that I can be more present for my family in certain seasons of life. And for somebody, that might be somebody's, right? You may literally be saying, you know what? I need to pull back from production. I need to actually run the numbers to see what we actually need so that I'm not grinding at the expense of what really matters. For somebody else, it might say, okay, we need to get to this level of production because it's going to free up mental capacity and space. So now we can take care of what really matters. But it's take an assessment. Where are you now? And what's the next step of where you want to go? And the beautiful thing is, whatever you put, we can start becoming it automatically. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So, I'll go ahead.
No, I just wanted to let you know I do really appreciate just all this thought process again. I mean, I feel like I kind of go through it every year, but I love that. One thing you said that was great, which I've never heard, was most of us have experience of the same year over and over.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, what in the world am I doing and not doing that I'm having this same experience all the time? How can I change my mindset? What kind of renewal do I need to be making steps for, so that I'm not having the same year over and over again?
Yep.
So I loved that. That was great.
Yeah, I have a real, I may have to get him to speak for you, Julie. His name is Terrell Knighton. He's one of my really good friends. And the first time that my husband and I went to dinner with he and his wife, I don't even know if I was a realtor yet. I probably was taking the test. And he sat us down at dinner. He said, "So, what books are you reading?" And me and my husband looked at each other. I'm thinking like, I'm not in college anymore. I don't understand. Come again. I don't understand the question. But and literally at that table, he went to Amazon Prime. He ordered us the book Mind Power. And I thought to myself, he will never ask me that question again, and I'm not reading something. So, Kathy, one of the things that has been a game changer for me in not living that same year over and over is being very intentional about how I'm spending my time and what I've been feeding myself. And now it's just, like expanded, which is how I know Megan, right? Because we're both part of a mastermind group together. But, small tweaks like starting my morning. First of all, small tweaks like going to bed at night, not falling asleep to social media or Netflix or anything like that. Like really allowing my body to get the rest that it needs. Getting up in the morning, spending quiet time with the Lord. But then like reading, and I'm not a book in my hand reader, but I'm a big audibler, if that is a word. And then just exposing myself to experiences like this, getting on the plane and going to the conference. And sometimes it's not even about who's at the conference. I want to meet the other people who got on the plane to come to the conference because they're going to think differently. And even if we're not thinking exactly the same, I get to be exposed to that thinking, and that changes you. I tell a story real quick. I'll tell you this. Do y'all have nothing but cake? And
Is everyone frozen? Oh, Kathy, you're moving. Okay. I think it's
I
just
see
Rose.
everyone moving but
Okay.
Rosemary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. I know she was saying something really important about bun cake. So super
Yep.
excited for that one.
I'm gonna I'll Voxer her
Okay.
real quickly.
Okay. Are you guys loving this so far?
Yes, I am.
Good. Kathy, do you have the video from the Vision Zoom we did last week?
I'm sure I can pull it up.
Well, I can send it to you if you don't have it.
Oh,
I was saying,
okay.
based on some of the things that you've been saying, I think that would be a really good video for you to listen to.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send that to you.
Why don't you, send it
Yeah.
to me. Thank you.
Perfect. Anyone else have anything to add to the conversation thus far until Rosemary hops back on? Like this is such good stuff. I love things to get my mind, my creative juices flowing and like really making me think about things that aren't typically what is on our list to think about goal setting, I mean, do we really think about fun and goal setting? We feel like probably fun takes away from us reaching our goals, right? But gosh, it's just so imperative to having that work-life balance.
I like the way to look at the limiting beliefs differently.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Sandra, I don't think I have your email address, but if you want to send that to me, I can also send you the video from last week too, because we also talk about reframing and looking at the way we view our past and past circumstances, past situations, and how we can reframe that in our present and give it a new meaning. So that might be really helpful for you too. If you want to send me your email.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through my email list because I think there's a few people in here I don't have emails, and I will just private message you through the group chat. But
looks like Rosemary's back.
yes, I have to. I don't know what happened to my computer.
It's that 50-degree weather you got there. That freezing 50-degree weather.
I'm going to try, Julie, to share the slideshow with you.
Okay.
Um, what is your email? Because you may be able to pull it up while I'm on my phone.
You can.
I don't know, like my phone is working. Go ahead.
Okay. It's J.U. Miller at metrotci.com.
J.U. Miller at Metro, METRO,
Correct.
TCI.com. Okay, so look, limited belief would have been like, oh, I messed up. No, it's technology, friends.
It's real life.
It's not always our friend. Okay. So I just sent that to you. Hopefully it'll come through. But I was talking about just exposing. So I one time went to Nothing But Cake. Y'all have Nothing But Cakes in wherever y'all live? Okay. One time I went to Nothing But Cakes and I'm there to get a little bunt lit, cheating on my diet. And the man in front of me ordered his little bunt cake. And he said, oh, I want extra cream cheese. And I looked like, what? Extra cream? And they went in the back and they put extra cream cheese on the bunt cake. And it blew my mind because I did not know it was possible that you could ask for extra, and you can. It's only like 75 cents more. My point being is that if I wasn't in the right place at the right time, I wouldn't know what the possibilities are. And many times we live the same experiences because we're doing the same things over and over and over again. So sometimes we have to step outside of our comfort zone. We have to get into new spaces. We have to expose ourselves to new places so that we actually see, like, there is probably some stuff that is very much available to you right now, but you don't know about it just because there hasn't been the risk to, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go to this conference. I may not be able to afford to, but I can afford not to go. I can afford not to have an Audible membership. I can afford not to block off time in my day to go for a walk outside and pray and things like that. So for me, that has been where a lot of this belief change has gone. Okay. Julie, did you get the slideshow?
No, it hasn't popped in yet, but I'm going to see if I can open it with the link that Megan sent. Is that like the workbook?
Oh no, that's the book. But you know what? Look,
okay.
It's letting me, like, Zoom is letting me back in on my computer.
Okay.
I'm back that way. Okay.
So is anybody else interested in a Real Estate Bestie t-shirt, or is it just me? I love that t-shirt. It's so cute.
It is cute. I'm sure she probably has them for sale.
Thank you so much. Okay. So let's talk about, we're almost done, intention versus being intentional. And this actually came from Megan and I's coach. Is something that she said that I was like, psh. So having intention means that you set a goal or desire, like deciding to be more present with clients. It's a thought about what you hope, but being intentional, on the other hand, involves taking consistent, purposeful actions to make the goals a reality. Okay. We all have, like most of us have good intentions. Okay. But it's that intentional activity, these intentional actions that are actually going to move the needle. But this is where we get tripped up, is that you may have on our previous slide, right, what you want 1 year from now to look like, and think that you need 75 million actions in order to get there. But for most areas of our life, focus on one or two things and commit to intentional action, and you're going to move the needle in the direction of the life you want to live. So for each area, I just want you to come up with one intentional action, 2 max, that you're going to focus on. So for your family, what's one intentional action? I'm gonna give you one for my family. We're cell phone. I can't control my husband, but my intentional action is to be cell phone free at 7 p.m. Well, you're a real estate agent. I'll talk to them tomorrow. Right? So that intentional action is to keep that promise to say, I am going to get my cell phone out of my hand. It's going to bed at 7 p.m. So when I do my consultations with my clients, my language, and this has been my language anyway with my clients, is like, hey, feel free to call me anytime, but I do turn in for bed early. So if there's ever a time that you reach out to me and I don't respond back, I'll follow up first thing in the morning. Okay. So that is me setting a boundary. Now, I'm not saying I only work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Do not call me after that. That is my family time. I protect it fiercely. No, call me whenever you want to. But this is when you can probably expect to hear back from me. Okay. So that one activity, and it might seem like, because I'm already doing a family date nights, right? We're already doing the stuff, but I'm more, I like when I do that true assessment of myself, I'm way more distracted than I need to be. So that's my one for family, right? Whatever your one intentional action is, your one or two, it has to be something that you can actually do to move the needle. Not I intend to make more money. I'm going to go on more listing appointments. I'm going to make more calls. How many calls you going to make? Finances. What are the times? What are you blocking for your money-making activities, right? 9:30 to 11:30. So, they're doing a training at 10. Can't go. Not if it's on a Wednesday. I got to catch the replay because my intentional activity is from 9:30 to 11:30 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to be making my calls. When you determine this, and this is something that Julie said before, it makes those no's easier. Because I'm not saying no because I don't want to help you. But if saying yes to you says no to my intentional activity, then I can't do it. So determining that. Anyone have any questions or would like to workshop what an intentional activity in one of these areas might be to make it, I want it to be very practical for you so that you can walk away from this experience actually doing it.
I have one.
Okay.
So for instance, fun. My husband and I are empty nesters now, and we've kind of gotten into like just the routine of, oh yes, because there's no kids, we're always on a date night, but that's really not true. So doing one fun, intentional date night per month where we actually pick the things that we used to like before kids is a good idea.
Yeah. And something you can do with that, Sandra, is like beginning of the year, plan them out. Like
Right.
this month, this month. And then it's there, it's posted, not having flexibility. We're supposed to go skating and it's snow. No, be flexible.
Well, when I had my kids, it was funny. When I had my kids, I always put in the calendar once a month. And then now that the kids are gone, I don't really book anything. It's just like, whenever, let's go out to eat. But it's just becoming a let's go out to a restaurant type thing. And we can't do that. That's not going to help with the fitness intention.
Yeah. And it becomes something different. It becomes
right. Something
your
exciting
regular
to look forward to would be, different than just let's go out to eat because we're not planning ahead.
Yep. So the intentional action is booking it in the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe yours would be by the 25th of the current month, the calendar invite is in for the following month. I want you to be uber specific. So when the 26th come and you haven't done it, you're like, oh, let me go back in.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Now here's one thing too, though. When you have your intentional activities, life be lifing, real estate be real estating, kids be kidding, like all of the things. But we don't want to, the way that I look at this is almost like handling objections in our business, right? When you get the objection, when you get the first time home buyer that says they want to pull out the contract because they're nervous about being a homeowner, that's not the time to think about how you're going to respond. Right? So just like in our business, we want to get into the habit of being able to plan for, if this happens, how will we handle that objection? Same thing, right? So for Faith, let's say your thing is, I'm going to get up every morning and, spend 30 minutes quiet time. But what could be a barrier? Ooh, what about the days when I have an early flight, or the days where I have a meeting that I have to be out the house at such and such time? Okay, so when that happens, I'm not going to abandon my quiet time routine, but maybe on the way to those meetings, I'm going to choose to listen to worship music or a sermon so that I'm still being filled in that way, right? As opposed to, y'all know how it is, you go on vacation, eat like crap, and then you eat like crap for a month because we didn't plan for the contingency on how to get back on track. And with this page, you might have to, like, take real assessment, like notice what's happening in your life. So I'll give you on my cell phone thing. I might notice that Rosemary, 7:30 is a little early, maybe because if your cell phone is away, then you can't do X. So then maybe I have to give myself, okay, 7 o'clock or seven, I'm sorry, instead of 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30. Like, notice what the barrier could be, and you can adjust, but we don't abandon the intentional activity. And planning for it ahead of time is what's going to make all the difference in the world. It's almost like that, the same kind of thought process when it comes to this belief change. When this limiting belief comes, I've already thought about what I'm going to choose to believe instead and what God says instead. So the same thing, when something throws me off, and this is especially going to be important for like my calendar checkers, my like checklisters that likes everything to be buttoned up in a certain way. Give yourself a contingency. And this is not to say that you're always going to flex and negotiate with your intentional activities, but when things happen, what are you going to do instead? Okay, so we live in Indiana. We planned on a family date night outside, and it's too cold. It's a snowstorm. Okay, we're going to make s'mores inside that day. What are 3 inside activities that we can do so that everybody doesn't retreat to separate ends of the house with a cell phone? Because what's the point of the family activity? It's not the actual activity, it's us connecting with each other. So when we can't connect in the way I intended on us connecting, what's going to be our contingency plan so that we can still connect? Okay. Now, we finally to the goal setting part. That was our reflection and planning. Now that you're here, you're going to go back to, and I asked you all before, what do you want a year from now? You're going to go back to making those very specific. And this is another thing. Like, I used to be the type of person where I had 10, 15, 20 goals. 3 to 5. 3 to 5 solid things per year will literally change the trajectory of how you're living your life. But I want you to be very specific and use the 5 F's, okay? So do you want to increase your quiet time to 4 days per week? And you want to be in that rhythm by April. I want to double my sales. Don't just say double my sales. Know how many sales you had. Write in exactly what number it takes to double. So then you'll know, like, if you want to do 24 transactions, if it's June and you're not at 12, you're not on track, right? So you want to get very specific, but look at the 5 F's again. Yes, I'm pretty sure we all are going to have financial goals, but that is not the totality of who you are. And even those other goals, be specific about what you want them to look like. Okay. And then, of course, we want to end because I want to give some time for some questions and a little bit of conversation. When it comes to my real estate agent friends, I hear a lot of people have a lot of different ways that they come by what their goal is for real estate in terms of, I want to make more transactions, or I want to be a top producer. I was just coaching somebody, and their brokerage gives like this triple threat award, and they want the triple threat award every month. Well, you can get a triple threat award for getting 3 rentals a month, but is that going to help you financially live the life you want to live? So I encourage you to follow this formula, and first of all, assess where you are, assess how much income you need to make, and come up with a number. Do you need $100,000? Are you going for 150? Are you going for 250? Are you going for 60? Whatever your number is, because that's one of the things about our industry. It's limitless, but everybody's goals are going to be different. My financial goals look different than what they did a couple years ago, right? And actually in the opposite direction. Wherever you are and what you need, it's okay, but you need to know exactly how to get there. So for easy math, I'm going to give you an example. So most agents that I speak with, the first number that they're looking to get to is $100,000. Like that is the first income marker. They want to get to the 12-month mark. So what I would want you to do is I want you to take an average commission, and for the sake of this, we can't talk about commission. We are not going to get in trouble with NAR, but let's just pretend that your average price point was $200,000 and your average commission on that was $6,000 per year. Are y'all tracking with me? What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide my average commission by the total amount of gross commission that I want to make. So in this case, I would divide 6,000 into 100,000. And that would mean that I would need about 17 deals at 6,000 a deal. That'll take me right over $100,000. And now this big vague goal of I want to make more money is broken down to actually 17 deals a year. And then when I break that down by month, that's like 1 to 2 deals per month is what I'm going for. And then what I would do is actually list it out. So in January, I need 1. In February, I need 1. And we know that in most markets, there's more activity in the spring and summer. Right? So I look at January to 17 for the year. It's December 13th. What do I have pending? If I have any pending, I got some work to do. Then what happens if January you didn't get anything? Then it's slow, it's snowstorm. You don't throw the whole year away. Now February, I need 2 to make up for that one in January. But now I have specific numbers, and it's not just vague. I want to make more. I want to do more. I want to be this. No, I need to make this $100,000. And then here's the real thing. So, and when it's April, and let's just say the market is going bananas and you don't have the numbers you want, that little voice is going to pop up in your head to say, see, that's why you shouldn't be a real estate agent. And you're going to go back to this book, and you're going to go back to that belief change to say, no, actually, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And this is a tough season. But I'm tougher, right? Tammy's going to remember how when she was transitioning her business, she was able to do both and provide leverage, right? Kathy's going to remember, nope, when I was, in my hospital bed, I was able to move the needle in business. And that belief change is going to serve you to actually getting to your goals, because if it's just about the number, it's just about money, it's not going to be enough. So that brings us to any questions. that you may have. Questions, comments?
This has been amazing. I was just saying in the chat, like I totally have goosebumps right now. Like this was so good. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure I can. Like, thank you so much. This was amazing.
Thank you.
And to answer your question from earlier, of course we're going to have you back as long as you're willing to do so. I would love that.
No, absolutely. I can't wait to
Kathy
come
has a
in.
question in the chat. She says, I'd like a workshop on what to do when numbers are down. Okay, very good, Kathy. Thank you. What are income producing activities is her question. What are income producing activities? So maybe you could touch on that really quick.
Yeah, so this is the easy way to see if what you're doing is an income producing activity. Easy thing. Am I having a real estate conversation? Yes or no? Right? That is always my assessment. Because I coach agents, I'm working on my website and I'm putting things out into social media. We have active and we have passive lead generation activities. So even when Tammy is at the pool, and we're able to talk about the fact that you need roof and how long you want to be living in this house, we're able to turn it into a real estate conversation to the income, right? I have a little trick. I don't care where I am. I'm always shooting for at least 10 real estate conversations today. So like when I get off of this call with you all, I'm going to go my nails. I get my nails done at a local shop. I'm going to ask probably 6 people there. Do you live in the area? Guess what? We are automatically in a real estate conversation, right? And from there, I'm going to actively look for, like when I'm in very like easy, casual situations, my first thing is to find out a little bit. Do you live in the area? Oh, I live over on such and such street. Oh, really? I haven't ever sold over there. Do you like it? Oh, by the way, I'm a real estate agent. I have clients that are looking in the area all the time. And then that draws some more information, right? Then I friend them on Facebook right there. Oh, Kathy, are you on Facebook? I want to stay connected with you. My phone is out. I'm already typing Kat. Is it Kathy with a C or a K? Now you're in my life, you're in my database, I'm in your DMs. And before you know it, you're at the client appreciation party. But the short answer is anything that is driving a conversation, that's how you know it's income producing. And it's a good assessment to see what are the non-income producing activities that I need to have somebody else do. So do you have a transaction coordinator? Do you have a listing coordinator? All of these small things to be investments in your business to free you up to talk to more people.
Love that. Thank you. Monet has another question. She says, my firm does not have a website. Should I have a personal website? And do you think it matters?
How are you sending out properties? Through MLS?
Right. So I haven't had a listing yet, but like I use my CRM for like a landing page. Like I'll create a landing page if I do like any open houses for someone, that type of thing, or my newsletter. I'll send that out monthly through my CRM. So I just haven't had I don't have that many I haven't had that many transactions where I've like, does it matter if I have a website? Do people
Yeah,
really touch
I
it?
think that what you have is sufficient. Like my thing is if somebody is interested, like can they find you? Is there a way that you can send out things like being newer at 3 to 4 transactions, which is what you have so far? I don't know that I would be spending my time and my energy creating a website right now. I'm gonna
Okay.
be out having more conversations with people. Um, and even now, like, I have a website. I think more real estate besties go to it than actual buyers and
Clients.
sellers. But
Yeah.
my CRM is what, like, the CRM website is the one that my clients are utilizing because that's where I have them set up on their searches, their market reports, and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this is just another side note. It might be worth considering, are you at the best firm with the best resources for where your business not only is, but where you want it to go? Because most companies provide that landing page website for agents. Okay.
So good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's you guys, everybody, like unmute and tell Rosemary, thank you so much for being here today. This has been so good.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Rosemary.
Thank you, besties.
We also would like to know how we can become a real estate bestie and get one of those shirts.
Yes. So the sweatshirts that y'all see people rocking, that is exclusive for our coaching students.
Okay.
That's one of the gifts that they get. But we do, like in person, when we have our in-person events, we do have swag. And our next in-person event will be September 21st to the 25th for everybody. Like the big one is going to be the Real Estate Bestie Experience. So make sure you're on our email list. I have put up the slide here. I'll put it back up. We have a free ebook, 6 Steps to Multiple Six Figures. I see some besties. Oh, where am I at? So I can share my screen. Can y'all still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'll your face.
Can you tell us where the in-person event's going to be? Do you know yet?
Yes, it's going to be in Dallas.
Dallas. Okay, perfect.
You get to come to Texas, and in September it's still summer. So wear your summer. So yeah, it's gonna be in Dallas. Oh, there it is. Share my screen. It'll be in Dallas, at a beautiful, beautiful hotel, and we only will have 130 spots. Probably once the second month a year. Make sure that you get in the building, and it is faith. It's a faith-based business conference. So I want to be very transparent about that, because yes, we want you to be amazing agents, and we are going to give so much knowledge in terms of how to grow your business, how to grow your mindset, how to shift from that employee to that CEO mindset to really, really go out and do amazing things for your family. But we also believe that we're called to be ministers in a marketplace to shine a light in very dark places. So there is a faith component interwoven throughout the retreat or throughout the experience as well.
Is there a link to that somewhere on your Instagram or something?
It's not open yet. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not open yet. We are considering opening it up a little bit early, but it won't be until the top of the year at the earliest. It'll be at the top of the year. But when you stay connected to the email list, like make sure you're getting our emails, because we will open it up to the besties on the email list and in the Facebook group before we open it up to general public. But it's a must attend, because remember, we want to get in the room. So like I love that y'all love me, but I'm telling you, the besties that show up for this, top tier. All over the country, friends too. Friends from everywhere.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Megan, do you have anything to add before we wrap this up?
I know. I mean, just to jump on what Rosemary said, like I have found the most transformational parts of my business are being in rooms with other business owners and learning from each other. As much as like Rosemary and I have an incredible mastermind leader and she offers so much to us, there's just as much value as being in the room with Rosemary and the other people in our group. So put yourself in those spaces.
Yeah, so good. All right. Well, Rosemary, we so appreciate your time today and for pouring into us. Like it is so valuable. And again, we would love to have you back if you're willing, and we will definitely be in contact.
Yes,
and joining
absolutely.
your community.
Yes, thank you. And thank y'all for being flexible with our technology issues today. Appreciate you. And just like how we have to be flexible with yourselves as you're going through the year, because the year, I believe it's going to be a great year, but we know that we're strongest built in tough times. So even when you have tough moments throughout the next year, just know that you get to be flexible. You get to be kind to yourself. and you get to stay on mission.
So good.
And hopefully we'll have you in person, Rosemary. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. Love
I'm
that.
I'm excited.
All right.
All right, bye.
Awesome.
Talk to you
Bye.
later.
Bye.
So much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.